Hey guys, what's going on? NGS here, and it is once again time for another video. I want to say a few things before we start the video. One, I'm sorry if this lighting looks really weird. Actually, one of my lamps broke, so that's how I usually got my lighting, so I'm using this weird one right here. So I'm sorry if there's like darkness over here, makes me look more black, whatever you say. So I want to apologize for that, and if you hear some weird like recurring noises like doon 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 doon, then that's my PS3 because my camera is centered right on top of my PS3. And I'm updating a game right now, so yeah, I felt like doing a video in the meantime while it's updating. The number of some people who really think the PS3 still needs to install games. Wow. So we're going to stop beating around the bush and we're going to cut straight to the video topic. And yes, my friend, if you are keeping track of the innuendo, add that one to your list. So about a month ago, a good friend and subscriber of mine sent me a link to an article that was very, very intriguing. The link led me to a scan from a Japanese weekly Shonen Jump magazine. And what the scan detailed is that a brand new anime, an anime premiering in Japan, no surprise here, called Toriko would be premiering on Fuji TV Spring 2011. Now, this video, if you could tell by the title, is not going to be about Toriko, because frankly, I don't even know what the hell Toriko is, so I'm not going to talk about it. But if any of you guys have been following the topic when you mention Toriko, Fuji TV, then you get this. There are rumors going around that Dragon Ball Kai might be getting cancelled. Why, you may ask? Because Toriko is replacing its 9 AM time slot on Fuji TV. Now I know what a lot of you guys are saying. Well, it's just losing its time slot. That doesn't mean it's getting cancelled, Neo. Because they do that all the time over here in the statesides for, you know, obvious reasons. Some anime need to attract a better market, so they either move them up early or move them up later. Some just need to move to a different time slot for reasons out of their own control. And yes, that is true over here in the States, but in Japan it's a pretty big deal actually if they start switching time slots. So the big rumors going around, at first they bugged me. They really bugged me. Like, I didn't know what was gonna happen. I'm like, wait a minute, Dragon Ball Kai being canceled? How is this possible? You know, it's Dragon Ball Z for Christ's sake. But after I sat down, calmed myself, and drank my Kool-Aid, I realized two things. One, that this can mean any number of three things. Number one, Dragon Ball Kai is indeed losing its time slot, but it just might move to a different air time. Number two, the series might go on an indefinite hiatus. And yes, number three, the most controversial of all, Dragon Ball Kai in Japan might be getting cancelled. And after seeing what's going on, after talking to a lot of people, this really doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't, you guys. And I'm sure a lot of you hardcore DBZ fans, you guys know what I'm talking about. I think this whole controversy going around, I contribute to what is called the DBZ effect. And the DBZ effect is essentially, you guys know that DBZ's been over in most parts of the world for about, let's say, roughly 10 years. 15 in Japan, around 7, 8 in America. And for some strange reason, they've been releasing a shit ton of merchandise to DBZ even after the series is ending. And this is what I call the DBZ effect. The series was so popular and well loved that people would go out and buy anything. But as a lot of us fans have noticed, in the past couple years, guys, let's be honest with ourselves. What if the guys over there at Toei in Japan really done to reinvigorate the franchise that we love and hold so dear? I'm going to be dead honest with you. I'm going to answer the question. I got to be critical and hard in this video. They literally have done nothing to keep us interested. In the past 7 years, who knows what they could do. When a series is over, you know, they could do a lot of other things, you know. Just because Akira Toriyama's not writing any more DBZ, that doesn't mean that they can't go ahead and, I don't know, do a spin-off of DBZ. You know, there are plenty of other writers out there who don't write manga, they write for shows. I mean, take the Fullmetal Alchemist crew, for example, the guys who did the original adaptation. That whole other half of the series was more or less done by that crew. It wasn't done by Hiromu Arakawa. She approved it, but that was done by them. You know, a lot of these people, a lot of these so-called amazing anime writers who write these deep anime plot scripts, such as the guys who do Bleach filler and, of course, Naruto filler, take some tips from the guys over at FMA at Bones. So they could have done a new type of spin-off series, they could have made more DBZ movies, quality movies, I'm not talking about the whole 50-minute thing. And of course the biggest outlet to attract people, the video games. You guys already know my whole deal with the video games. And have they been providing us with good video games since DBZ's ended? They used to, they really used to. At the turn of the century we had some of the best DBZ games. But later on, as it went on, what did we get? What did we honestly get? Okay, let's see, recycled games, rehashed time and time again, except with shinier graphics and new useless characters, more or less the same combos. You know, none of those great handheld DBZ games such as the Legacy of Goku series, Advanced Adventures, Origin 1 and 2, and you know, that really goes back to what I said, how the best DBZ games are on handhelds. And what they've been doing in the time that DBZ's been over, the time that they could have taken to make quality games, a quality spin-off, quality movies, they've more or less done nothing. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to be canceled, you guys, because it could be just moving to a different time slot to accompany this new anime. Maybe the demand and the ratings for Kai just aren't in there in Japan anymore because the fans are looking back, the hardcore fans, and they're saying that, well, they haven't really provided us with anything. Let's backtrack to about 2 years ago, around this time when Kai was first announced. You guys remember how when they first announced Kai, it'd be a new version of DBZ. We all thought, let's be honest, and I thought it too, that it was going to be DBZ reanimated for the modern audiences. And, you know, say what you want about Kai, I still really love the series, but the majority of the fan base didn't want to watch Kai. They saw the first episode, saw a couple episodes, and said, hey, I've seen this already. This is pretty much the same crap from the 80s and the 90s. So that's why Dragon Ball Kai only appeals to the niche audience, you know, like me, guys like me who like to watch DBZ without the filler. And I'm not talking about the filler in between, I'm talking about the filler in between the fights. Just DBZ filler ranks up there with Naruto filler as the worst filler out there. I mean, when you have a fight that lasts 20 plus episodes and Goku and Frieza, they don't get to the actual fight. Frieza's talking about, you got 5 minutes before I destroy this planet. Let's fast forward 3 months later. You still got 5 minutes, Goku! I just think the fillers really destroyed DBZ because it just prolonged it. I mean, if you read the manga of DBZ, it's a totally different story. I mean, Goku was essentially in a different league than Frieza. The anime really just made it like they were evenly matched. The fact that people believe it's more or less the same thing, it doesn't draw that many people in, you know? And Kai isn't really the perfect cut straight to the manga adaptation of DBZ. And the reason why I think in Japan it's not doing as well as expected is that it's more or less the same thing. Like, I gotta be honest with you guys. I've watched all of Dragon Ball Z in English, all of Dragon Ball Z in Japanese. I'm caught up with Kai in American, I'm caught up with Kai in Japan. And to be frank, the Japanese version is more or less the same thing except with reworded text and the faster pace. That's literally all it is, you guys. It doesn't make sense because the Japanese version already moved closer to the manga than the American dub did. The American dub is where it's at for Kai because Funimation got that second chance. The second chance so people would stop ridiculing them on the Dragon Ball Z dub. Because the Dragon Ball Z dub, compared to all the other dubs out there, it wasn't the best. It was a good dub for what they had. They were a brand new company. They were hiring people off the street. And they also had to dumb some things down so we could hear it and we didn't go, what are they talking about? Mommy, they're talking about killing! They really wanted to make the series take off and they had to make those changes. But we never got a proper full DBZ translation. So when you look at it as an anime fan of the Japanese version, like the fan bases are just so divided, you're going to say, wow, what the heck did they do to my anime, you know? So you guys, we don't really know if it's getting canceled. It probably is just moving to a different time slot, and it really wouldn't make sense to cut the series because by the time you get to spring 2011, we're probably going to be done with the Cell arc. I do remember a final arc coming right after the Cell arc that was pretty critical to the entire Dragon Ball phenomenon. You know, I'm just beating around the bush here. You know, I remember there was a saga right after the Cell arc. My best advice to you guys is just wait for more news out of Japan. That's all I really advise you guys to do because it could be getting canceled, it could be moving to a different time slot, it might just go on a hiatus, you guys. I really don't know. I was just giving my opinions on why I think this thing is going around. I don't know if I'm right, I don't know if I'm wrong, but these are just my opinions on the matter. To wrap up what I said in the video, for any of you guys who just want to jump to the whole 10-minute part, essentially, the fans are really losing interest in Dragon Ball Z. From the rehashed games to Kai, the market just isn't there anymore, I believe. Unless they step up their game, they are really going to lose this fan base. And for a fan base that is this strong after the series has ended, it's going downhill. So, guys at Toei, get your act together. So, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I'm NGS signing out. Catch you guys later.
Don't stop, we're in love now. Don't stop, there's so much to be found. We can't